you want to learn how to crush it with open houses and double end all of them? Who's up for that? Say aye. Okay, I need a big, energetic round of applause for Andy Tse.
I'm gonna give you those glasses.
I think those are yours.
All right, they are. All right. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? All right. I got 18 minutes to give you a 4-hour presentation. Are you ready? All right. Have you ever noticed in real estate, people that are successful, and by successful I mean making a lot of money, they're one of three things. They're either number one, really smart, number two, really hardworking, or number three, just drop dead gorgeous. Have you ever noticed that? Like you walk into some of these listings, you're like, how'd they get that? Oh, they're really hot. All right? So two of those things we can, or one of those things we can affect. There's nothing you can do about how smart you are. Not really too much you can do about how you look. But the other one thing that you can do is how hard you work. All right? And open houses is about hard work. So here's number one point on open houses. Start writing these down. Number one, if you decide open house is going to be your number one method of getting leads, you need to do 40 hours a month. Okay, that translates to about 6 to 8 open houses a month. And that's an important number because when I do open houses, it takes me about 6 to 8 open houses before I get one closed transaction. All right, so those are about the numbers you should expect. But a funny thing can happen in real estate. You can go 6, 12, 18 open houses and not get a single deal. But on the 19th one, you double end a deal and you sell their house. So that's 3 transactions. So the numbers end up averaging out. And I don't want you to think that everybody, or at least not me, I'm not like the superstar that has a deal close like every single week. At the beginning of the year this year, I went 2-3 months with no closings. And I was with my assistant thinking, maybe we're done. We had a good run. It was a fun business. But luckily, business exploded in the last couple months. We're doing about probably 10, 15 million in the last 2 months. It's fantastic. So just keep doing what you're doing. So point number one, and I've changed these points around because this is the number one most important one, right? 40 hours a month if this is your only method of prospecting. Point number two, 20 to 25 signs. Okay, you have to put out 20 to 25 signs. People have heard me say that before, and it's really true. Okay, my phone number, I'm going to give it to you right now, is 408-807-8808. 408-807-8808. Okay, I sell houses in Silicon Valley, primarily Saratoga. Anybody in the room can call me if you have questions about open houses. If you're doing open houses and it's not working, call me. My first question that I'm going to ask you when you call me is, how many signs did you put out? If you don't say 20 to 25 signs, I'm not going to answer any more questions. Okay? We're baking a cake. This is the recipe. If you don't put in the right ingredients, you don't get the right result. Point number two, 20 to 25 signs. Number three, you focus on getting one solid appointment at the open house. A solid appointment is somebody that's meeting you at your office or you're meeting them at their house to list their house. Okay, that's a solid appointment. I'm going to tell you how to get those in a little bit. Point number four, you stay focused on one person at a time. Okay, you're at this open house. There's 400 people walking through the door. You're talking to Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You don't leave them until either number one, you're sure you're not going to get an appointment with them, or number two, you get the appointment with them. Then you can go on to the next person. I don't care if people walk in and leave and you never say hello. You focus on that one person until you know for sure whether or not you can get the appointment. And number five, and this is really important, this kind of goes without saying, but you must be an expert in your industry, in your city, in your geographic farm where you're working. In order to be an expert, you need to tour the market at least once a week. Okay? You should be your own best client. You should be sending a daily listing alert to yourself on every change in the marketplace. New listings, price changes, withdrawals, canceled, pendings, everything. If you want to take it a step further, every time there's a pending, you call the listing agent up and then say, how many offers did you get? How much did it sell for? Can you give me an idea? And let them know, hey, I'd be happy to help you the next time I have a listing in the area. You can call me and get the same information. Okay? So point number one, 40 hours a month. Point number two, 20 to 25 signs. Point number three, one solid appointment. Point number four, stay focused on just one person. And point number five, be an expert. All right. So I've got one extra golden nugget for this year. I'm going to give you the two that I gave last year, and I'll give you one extra one. Golden nugget number one from last year If you don't have your own open houses to do, I know a lot of people like doing the ones in the office. That makes sense. But if you do an office open house, what are the chances you're going to get the listing when you're done? Probably slim to none, right? So before you do those, I want you to call for sale by owners and offer them to do the for sale by owners open houses. They don't want to do them anyway. They don't have signs. And guess what? This is the only open house that you can do where you can both pull buyers, and at the end, you might get a listing. All right? Golden nugget number 2. This is for most of the listing agents out there. Something that I do a lot of is I have a lot of lenders do my open houses for me. Because then they capture all the leads, right? And they just call me and say, this person's qualified, this person isn't qualified, this person would like to write an offer. It's kind of a neat way to get to double end more deals. I'm going to talk a little bit about double ending in a little bit. And this is my newest golden nugget. I don't know if I talked about this last time, but if anybody has heard me talk before about open houses, what I used to always do is I had a stack of business cards in my left pocket. And when people would come in the door, I would take the business cards out. First thing I would do is introduce myself, and I would immediately ask for their name, and I would start writing that down on the back of the business card. What I do now is I've got my iPhone, okay? And a little bit more towards the middle end of our conversation, once I've established what I'm going to call establishing value, once I've established some type of value that I'm going to be bringing to them, whether it be a buyer or a seller, I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second. What I do now is I take the iPhone out and I simply start typing in their name. I used to give it to them, but sometimes people are kind of fumble on it. But I just go down, I look down, and we just go through the fields. So name, great. Phone number, great. Email. And then where it says company, what I do is I write the address of the open house that I found them at and all their things that they're looking for. So like I just did one on Beaumont. So it would be Beaumont, buyer, Saratoga, 1.3 to 1.7 million. So then later I can search everything under contacts. And it's great. So Saratoga buyer, boom. 40 contacts come up from the last 2 months of open houses that I've been doing. Okay? So those are my 3 golden nuggets. How am I doing on time? 11 minutes. All right. When Tom first told me I was going to come on stage, he asked me, like this was a month or 2 ago, he said they want to do a presentation on how to double your business from open house. So I'm going to give you 5 ways to double your business from open house. And most of these are pretty simple. So I just write them down anyway, okay? Number 1, double your price point. Right? If you're doing deals in 500,000, just move to the part of town that's doing 1 to 1.5. Okay, that's pretty simple. What's important is you know that market just as well as you knew the other market. Okay, so that just means what? Touring, daily changes of what's going on, calling people, finding out things, becoming an expert. Okay? Number 2, do twice as many open houses. That's a pretty simple idea too, right? Double your income, just do twice as many. Number 3, do the same open houses twice as long. I do a lot of open houses now where I start at 11 or 12 o'clock, especially in the summertime, and I don't leave till 5, 6, 7 o'clock, okay, until it gets dark. Just do twice as much, right? You can start combining some of these, you can increase your money like 16-fold. I do 2 a day. When I get real busy, like I am right now, I do 2 a day. I'll go 10 to 1 on one open house, and 2 to 5 on another open house. Kind of gives me half an hour to take down the intermediate signs that I call them, the ones that are like immediately leading to the house, and then I leave the other ones up on the main street as billboards all over town so people can see me, right? Andy's working Saratoga, he's in business today, so, okay. Number 5, double your appointments. If you really start getting good at doing appointments, though, what you're going to find is once you push past about 3-ish appointments at an open house, 4 is, I think, too many almost, because you can't properly service people once you start getting north of that. At least I can. I'm sure there are other agents that do a lot more business than me. I just don't have the systems yet. But it takes a lot of time to really service well buyers and sellers. So anyway, just double your appointments. Most of you maybe just doing 1, just get a second appointment out of every single open house. 9 minutes. All right. I was going to throw this in because I'm going to give you a little bonus session, right? A little bonus session on door knocking. I really wanted to give my door knocking script, okay? Because this is one way that we add value to buyers and sellers. So before my open house or after my open house, just depending on where it is, I'll use a script like this. So I'll say something like on Beaumont, I'll say, knock, 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 or ding dong, somebody comes to the door. I'll say, hi, my name is Andy with Tse TOMX Real Estate. Just real quick, you probably saw all my signs I had up for the open house over on Beaumont. I had about 40 people through, and it turns out only 1 person was able to buy it. But I've got 39 other people that would like to buy a house here in Saratoga, and I was just wondering if you know of anybody who's thinking about selling a house. So they'll say no, right? And then I'll say, well, what about you? Is there any price, and I mean any price you'd ever consider you're selling your house at? And they'll say, well, $3 million, you know? Really? $3 million for your house that's $1.5 million? If I got you that, would you sell it? And they'll all say, yeah, ha, ha, ha. And I said, what if I got you like $1,750,000 or $2 million? Would that be good enough? And right there, right then and there is where people will, you know, open up. If they've been thinking about selling, you'll start a conversation. So that's one little door knocking script that has to do with open houses. I'm going to give you my farming open house script, farming door knocking script too. Sorry, I'm going a little bit off topic, but I really wanted to do this so that everybody sees how I also farm within my part of Saratoga. Okay, so similar to what people always do is I put together like a list of actives, pendings, and solds, right? And I have a stack of them in my hand here. And here's what I do. This is my door knocking script. I go ding dong, nobody's home, right? I put it under the doormat. And the next house, ding dong, nobody's home. Put it under the doormat. Ding dong, somebody comes to the door, I go, real estate update, and I walk away. And that's it. I'll rewind in case you missed that, right? Ding dong, real estate update, and I walk away. Okay, here's why that works so well. That works so well because if you live in a house and you've ever had somebody ring your doorbell, what's the first thing that you think? Oh, no. What religion are they selling me today, right? Oh, that's miserable. Right, so when you do that, and you don't even give them the chance to slam a door in your face, okay? So that's the script for month 1. Month 2 is the exact same. Month 3. Ding dong. Hi, it's Andy again. Real estate update, and walk away. That's it. And that's it. It's that simple. And honestly, once you've gotten to month 3, people recognize you. They're like, oh, I love your real estate updates. How are things going? And blah, 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 blah. And you're in. Okay? So I just threw that in there just a little bit, just to give you a little bit of an idea of, you know, a simple way to door knock and stuff like that. The reason why, actually, the other reason why I wanted to give that to you guys is because when I was brand new in the business, I found that, you know, if you're broke, right, or you're trying to get business, there's only really 3 ways to get business, I think, if you have no money to spend. 1 is open houses. 2 is door knocking the exact way I just showed you. And the third one is making phone calls, right? Cold calling. And I think phone calls can be really hard sometimes, especially because of the rejection. But the 2 that I just gave you, the open house one and the door knock, anybody can do that, right? You can do that, right? And when I go, especially when I go door knocking, it's just, you know, a nice polo shirt and some shorts in the summertime with tennis shoes, and then in the wintertime it's jeans, and you're gonna go. So anyway, that was a little bonus for you. All right, I got 5 minutes. All right, I'm trying to cram as much in here as I possibly can. All right, we're going to go to this. When you're doing your open houses in general, you need to bring massive value to buyers and sellers, okay? Massive value. And by massive value, it means this is the reason why they want to work with you. If you're trying to attract buyers, there's basically, in my opinion, only 3 ways you're going to bring massive value. Number 1, and this is the most important one, you're going to find them property that nobody else has. The way you're going to find them property that nobody else has is you're going to do that door knocking thing that I just told you about. The other way you're going to do it is call expireds or door knock expireds, and it's not that you're calling them or door knocking for the listing, it's just simply, if I had a buyer for your house, would you still sell it? Because I'm doing an open house down the street, or I just did an open house down the street, and 40 people came through, or 40 people are going to come through that all want to live here, and if somebody's, you know, looking for a house just like yours, are you still open to selling it? Right? So now you've got a couple of houses, not listings, but you've got a couple of houses that nobody else has, that when you're in the open house and you're introducing yourself to people and you're talking to people and you're asking them, what are you looking for? How big of a house are you looking for? You can tell them, oh, you know what? I've got a house that isn't on the market that meets that description exactly. Let's do this. Why don't we take a look at it after the open house? I'll call the seller, see if it's okay for us to go by. Can you meet back here at 5:30? And I'll go, yeah. And that's, there you go. Hey, actually, that's like another one of my points, actually, that's kind of important. Put a little star on the side right there. Your follow-up with the people from your open house needs to happen the same day. Same day follow-up. It's not the next day. You don't send emails or call people back the next day. It's same day after the open house. And it should be like a conversation that's something like, hey, this is Andy. We met at the open house. You know what? I was just thinking about you because yada, yada, yada. Because there's a house that's perfect for you. Because I just ran into a buyer that would love a house just like yours, you know, if a neighbor came in or something like that. All right, I got 3 minutes here. So, number 1, for buyers bringing value, a property not on the market. Number 2, I don't believe in this one, but it's just the truth, right? There's a ton of agents out there that are willing to give kickback, right, or give a point back. I don't do it, but it's a reality, right? In our marketplace, I call that the Walmart marketplace, the Walmart method of doing real estate. And the reality is, if other agents are willing to do the same job you're willing to do for less money, they're going to beat you sooner or later. That's why we need to bring massive value by showing them houses they don't know about. Or number 3 is finding houses for them below market price, right? And I'm going to teach you how to do that in a second too, in like 2 minutes. But before I do that, I'm going to go to the other side of the stage right here. For sellers, to get massive value for sellers at open houses especially, is you got to find more than market value for them. You got to net them more money or less commission. And then you have to save time and headache. So basically what I do at the open house is when a seller comes in, because this just happened to me in Palo Alto when I was at an open house, a gal came in, and it was clear to me after I went through a bunch of questions with her, she was a seller. And I said, so Susan, I said, so is there a price, if I got the right price for you, would you consider selling your property? And she said, and she gave me the number, it was $425,000. I said, perfect. So if I get you $425,000, you think you sell? She said, yeah. And it's fantastic because I have multiple offers coming in on this property. I know that I'm going to hit 420, most likely 425 when it's all said and done. And I've got it ready to go. And she's got a daughter who is finishing up school, and she doesn't want the headache of having to put her house on the market. And it's a good price, and she says she's going to be happy. So that's one way I'm going to be able to bring massive value to the seller. Okay. The other thing that I do with sellers a lot too is I try to show them how much money that we get through negotiation from the open house, because I'm bringing massive buyers, right? And then I tell them this is where we listed at. Like I just did this on a house in Saratoga, listed for 1.3, and I talk to them and I say, I'll follow up with you, and through negotiation, through multiple offers, because I brought so many buyers in on that particular house, found my own buyer through the open house. And at the end of the day, sold it for $250,000. Okay, so $250,000 over, and now I've got all these sellers from the open house, and I know things that they're looking for. I can tell them, I can bring that value to them. All right, last little thing that I'm gonna just finish with is just a way to think about open houses. Okay, if you went to Las Vegas, right, and Steve Wynn met you at the Wynn Hotel, and he said, "Here is a slot machine. I'm going to let you have unlimited pulls on this slot machine. Every single time you pull it, right, you're not necessarily going to get a jackpot, but every once in a while, you will. How often would you pull that slot machine handle? As often as you could. You might even hire someone to sit in the chair for you to pull it while you're not there. And that's basically what open houses are, okay? It's a jackpot waiting to happen. It doesn't happen every single time, but it does happen. I've got 15 seconds. I forgot. One last thing. Here are the 3 things that you have to do when you go back to your office. Number 1, you got to buy the signs. Number 2, you got to schedule your open house. You can do that this week. Look for open houses that are vacant in the middle of town. Shoot. Can I finish this thought real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I have to do this. The best open houses to do if you don't have your own listings are vacant listings in the middle of town that have been on the market for 3 months. The reason why is the only people that come to those open houses are people that are just now thinking about selling or thinking about buying. Okay? So when you go back to your offices, look for vacant open houses that are in the middle of town that have been on forever that the listing agent doesn't want to do anyway. And the last thing that I was going to tell you is start touring once a week so that you know your inventory. That's it.
Give it up. Andy. Nice job, brother.
Sorry, man.
You're like, can I finish?
Yeah.
What happened? Hey. Nice.